Eric, I gotta go, Ramona. Please.
Now? Couldn't you have gone before we left?
Oh.
Team Freedom 1 game away from clearing out Team Naventic 3-0 in the series. We had 2 team wipes, full team wipes on Towers of Doom. Cursed Hollow was a bit more back and forth, but showing us the patience of Freedom.
Yeah, the patience and calculation of their compositions and new drafting, you know, that we see from them, understanding that they're figuring out the video game. They're learning how to be better as players and as a team, and it is showing here. I'm excited to look at where we go for game number 3 and really to see if Naventic's got it in them. You know, it feels like, it just really feels, because of their standings, their positioning, what we know this series to mean, that this is just the straw that broke the camel's back.
We'll have to see. They do get to choose if they want first pick or battleground pick, so maybe they're able to take something else, take Team Freedom somewhere else. It looks like no, they still want to have first pick, so Team Freedom, for a 3rd battleground in a row, will have the choice, and they pick Sky Temple.
Sky Temple for Freedom. I love it. I love this map. You know, I like what it provides, what it causes when it comes to rotations, the drafting strategies of it. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to battle. I do think that, if anything, this will benefit Naventic, because there is no option to opt into the macro play and give up structures like we saw in the last game, right? Where constant neglect of tributes for pressure elsewhere. That's just flat not possible here. So that makes me feel like it betters Naventic, but I still think Freedom's got it.
Yeah, Naventic will have the opportunity to get into more brawls, but as we've seen, Team Freedom maybe learning from the team that we used to say was the best of team fighters. They constantly scrim with Team Naventic, and Team Freedom are able to hold their own in team fights. So I don't know. I tend to agree with you that Team Freedom now, with this momentum swing as well, is looking very good into Game 3. But Sky Temple, not over until someone throws on a boss.
That has been the case of Part 2 for North America here. And I hope it's not going to be the case. It is weird that you say that, because like I feel like I agree with you, but I've never looked at Sky Temple as the boss throwing map. It's always Curse. Curse is so easy to throw on a boss, but like we have debatably as much on Sky Temple as we do on any other map. And it's like one of the map objective actually can end the game, right? Most of the time that the boss puts a lot of focus on maps where the objective itself does not execute lethal. It's so weird to see, because Sky is one of the strongest objectives.
I'm trying to think back to the early days with Cursed Hollow, before Sky Temple was there. Were the bosses still called throw pits the way? Because I feel like it wasn't until Sky Temple that people were like, oh yeah, it's the throw pit.
I don't know. I think you might be right.
Yeah.
I feel like because Sky Temple is a very apparent this team is in the lead moment, so much so more than Curse. It's a little bit more vague in Curse on who's actually winning that game. So I think it became more culturally accepted that it was like, yeah, this team was in the lead, and then they lost it very fast when Sky Temple was released, and they're like, that's the throw pit, man.
I love reminiscing about old days of Heroes, the alpha, all the craziness, especially with Heroes 2.0 coming out now, like thinking back to all of the iterations of Heroes, Resurgence of the Storm.
No, dude, never again. Oh man, that's something that's one of those where it's like, for people who never experienced it, they just don't even need the time. It's just, that was not good. It was not fun. It was just scary and hard to deal with. Yeah. The ones, when I think of old school, the one hero that I always think of is original Abathur. And then
definitely
Stitches. With Slam,
oh,
that's stunned, with the highest damage.
I was talking about that earlier today with someone else, actually.
He has the highest, he's like one of the best tanks in the game, highest health pool, most utility, and he does the most damage. You're like, when is this guy a bad pick? The answer is, he was like Tassadar. It wasn't ever a bad pick. You always picked him.
We had the days of Tass Oracle, and then we went to the days of, no, it's only Force Wall, and then now we're back to, no, we like Oracle again.
With the Archon?
Or, yeah, Archon.
Yeah. We've seen the Archon evolution, the original Archon with static charge. Ooh, baby, that burst. Man, it's a very different game, and it is just continuing to change, you know?
It is.
For the better. Talking about change, though, that's going to be a different first pick here out of Naventic. Not going to be the Fallout that we saw in games 1 and 2, but in fact is the Zeratule.
Malf Haka continuing to put focus on globals, our Team Freedom.
So what does that mean for Naventic at this point in the draft? Well, they're going to try and match on the global. The Tychus picked up 2 here. So Freedom now is going to play a bit more safe. The Zarya tasks were both off the table. I'm missing something at first glance. They need a double warrior. Without the Zarya, probably not going to be a triple. But into a Zeratul and a Dahaka, there is going to be another warrior 100% here for Freedom. It's strange that they didn't want the Arthas, though. Or at least are hovering considering not picking the Arthas.
Yeah. Zogrog thinking of something else?
Why don't you just...
Maybe ETC?
Okay, so there is only one warrior composition, 100% for Naventic. So you know that's B-Kid.
Yep.
If stabbing at his hero pool has already been a successful strategy, and now you know there's no question on who he's gonna play, wouldn't this be the best situation to target him? Like if I truly felt he is the easiest person to go at and it will get me a win, this is where I ban towards him. I don't feel like Arthas is that ban unless they're going to pick up the Muradin as my guess and then force him into a variant.
I kind of thought that they would be banning Lucio here.
For Freedom?
Yeah, picking up Malfurion.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense to, you know, the traditional support power play. It's just a lot of teams have, especially Freedom, every game it feels like they're putting focus onto what is the B-Kid hero we don't want to see.
Yeah, definitely. Just looking at that, knowing Team Naventic, possibly seeing if they could put Naventic on a support that Freedom could punish a bit more. Or that Naventic haven't been liking to play as much.
Wait, what?
Arthas ban...
You just...
Huh?
Varian
banned from Naventic.
3 is... Okay, so that's so weird because the exact same talking point I was talking about.
Is he going to just Leo again?
You gotta, I feel like. But that doesn't work very well into the composition drafted by them. It's not bad. You know, Leo works best as... that one's unfair to say as a blanket. He is at times better with no other frontliner as a solo warrior where you sacrifice him, but your comp is very dependent on certain variables existing. Zeratul and Falsehead are a nice start.
There's still a Johanna too.
Okay, Tyrael Greymane.
Nice.
That's going to be a lot to deal with for Naventic, but it's also...
Tyrael gives some boss control too.
Yeah, that's a good point. Zeratul, Falsehead, though, it's going to put a lot of pressure on Tyrael to have good sinks, being on point. 34% win rate here in North America.
Just not picked a whole lot. Started out somewhat. Rhaegar, Johanna. So preferring Rhaegar even over Lucio for Team Naventic anyway.
And then also preferring going Johanna over the Muradin. I will never cease to be confused by Naventic's warrior priority. I'll be honest. Because, like, beyond just the JoJo, this isn't a wave clear map, this is like Muradin, if you can argue a case for him on any maps, it's Braxis and Sky, based on the fact that he can just hang out and just like, until one of you actually has hard CC and enough damage to kill me, I'm not going to leave this spot. And then when you do that, you Dwarf Toss, your passive heals you back up to full, and you recycle it out. You just buy time on shots. He's one of the best. And they're still moving to the Johanna over the Muradin.
Well, there's blinds for Greymane. Nazeebo's last pick. You've talked about Indestructible on the boss point before.
I mean, it's decent, yeah, but that's a 20. It just...
Yeah,
I mean,
true.
I'm not saying that Johanna is useless by any means. It just seems to be constantly evolving and cycling to, you know, a different thought. Because for the first time, we got to see B-Kid going back to his Muradin, and then it was like 2 games with it. Yeah, they didn't have success, but if you were to argue any game, we should have seen it. So I feel like that's even more lack of faith in him in the role.
Oh, okay, I see where you're going with it now.
Somehow I got points 1 and 2. I'm not very good at the connection.
Skirting the edges. Yeah, Johanna condemning people in, maybe grouping them up for Void Prison 2. You could gust other people away. I'm looking for it. I'm looking.
Respect it. Let me know when you find it, you know?
But Team Freedom, I'm very excited to see how they execute Sanctification with Greymane too.
Yeah.
Tyrael Greymane has been an incredible combo for a long time, but a hard to execute one too. You know, you want to be making sure that you're using the Sanctification where Greymane wants to dive in so that he gets the full 3 seconds of invulnerability to just wreck face.
Yeah, and I agree with you. It's one of the most satisfying to watch. It's one of the coolest to be able to see trying to play in competitive. The biggest thing when looking at this strategy, what you always got to look out for is always going to be where Tyrio's Q is and how close Greymane is and how many vulnerable targets are back there. But if everything checks out, you've got at least 2 squishies and the Q is there, you just Q in Sanctification and just get the job done. And I do think Naventic, though, has enough tools to where I think this is a proper possible last game of this series. You know, Freedom decided we were going to go with a hard-to-run composition, a solid one, but a difficult one that's got a little bit of everything, and we're going to be able to take you on a brawling map. Like this is, if they win this, I feel like it's well fought, you know?
But like you said, Team Naventic has a lot of tools needed. They've got Gust, they've got Void, so let's see how it works out. Sky Temple for game number 3. Does Team Freedom close it out? We find out now.
Zagrug, in fact, is going to be arterial player for Freedom. Got to be making the plays, but I mean, so far this series, he's done a pretty good job there on the front line to be able to keep everybody, you know, in check.
We've seen Insomnia on Greymane. We've seen Nasmus on Greymane. Nasmus was the awesome Greymane kill in mid that we saw on Friday, I believe. Now he returns to the Worgen.
We also see Zuna returning to his Zeratul, which, though he isn't, he's like main Zeratul player compared to all the rest that we have in North America. I will say I put him on probably one of the higher levels of Zeratul players. He is very, very good, along with like Glorong and Fan.
Yeah, his Zeratul can be, it should inspire terror, even if you haven't seen it for a while. And Team Freedom, knowing Naventic like the back of their hand, should show that respect.
Yeah, I am sure that they have experienced that at one scrim or another. For the laning phase of Freedom, it looks like they have volunteered for the 1-1-3. Naventic's going to get the 2v1 against Insomnia here, but the skirmish up on top, Clusion's just going to go down.
He's dead. Nasmus wants to make it a 1-for-1, but it won't be had. B-Kid standing strong, pushing back Zagrug and Nasmus.
That is a huge win for Naventic.
Wow, look at this bottom lane push, too.
So what this is Naventic is kind of taking the Braxis Gale Force strategy of the take your Dahaka 2v1 into him and suddenly he's less scary. And it's working very well, but the fact that they got a kill on the opposite side of the map and was successful on the bottom is a very, very big win here for Naventic as we see the first shots are going to spawn.
Half-level advantage, and it will put Team Freedom on the back foot for that second temple phase. So they're looking to make up for it here in the first one.
Nobody's taking the shots on top. Everybody wants to clash here at mid.
Falstad's starting to walk down to match Dahaka in the bottom lane until either global is needed. Their hope is they'll be able to soak safely there. Naventic will have a spike at 4.
Yeah, over top of Freedom. Root's not going to land there. Zuna teleporting out. 4 has now been achieved for Naventic. They've gotten already about half the shots on mid, which is enough for them to actually rotate top, collapse, and pressure out Freedom here if they really feel like they have the better early game after this, you know, after mid shots are completed.
No rotations up yet. They're just going to push another lane?
I guess so. I was just going to say, I would really like to see them do that, and they're going to play this as passive as you possibly can. Everybody's kind of going to their own lane.
Giant still?
Looks like focus on the bottom and just trying to siege up on bottom is going to be the thought.
Greymane's coming down to join Dahaka. Those two have been off the battleground for a while. Giants are started.
You made?
B-Kid's here too. Big impact, dives onto the point. Greymane down. Camp stolen for Naventic.
They're doing everything they can here with their life on the line in this series. Already going to be down 2, but they get the invade. They've gotten the 2 picks. And that one, you know, even with less Zeratul factor, is just solid rotations from Naventic here. Spoke too soon when I said I didn't feel like they had it in them. They're obviously feeling a bit differently than myself.
Proving us wrong so far. Getting the fort without even a second temple phase. Not a single shot fired from the bot temple in Team Freedom's bot fort.
And Zuno
has been taken care of.
And Zuno knows that this night camp has been started, as he is just slowly creeping upwards, trying not to reflect any light. And he's just going to wait till he's one shot and say goodnight, my sweet prince. Not with Tyrael there.
Yeah. He's like, okay, status.
Definitely not with Collusion there. Is he going to... He went for the delay. Not going to get it. That was the most flashy, non-flashy thing I've seen in a long while. It was just, you know, it was like, oh, this could be really cool. And then it was like, and
Tyrael?
He's just going to teleport out.
And Malfurion. And he's gone. Like dust in the wind? Is that the right? Yes.
You got it. We're figuring it out. I had about 20 people tweet at me letting me know which band's saying it. And I was like, I asked you that more as like a conversation piece, but everybody was like, no, it's Kansas, man. All right, so we do see Naventic has 2 members up on top there. Oh, God. I'm wrong. That is, in fact, just going to be 3. But they do not get the kill there onto Zugrig. They have the Knights pressuring out. They have the Globals to match. So Naventic has got everything they need here to be able to get this win so far. They've got the checklist marked off. Zuno's here to join the friends on bottom. Not going to land there with the Singularity Spike, forcing the telly.
Iron Skin down 2, so Beaket's going to back off for now. 3 versus 2. Several members of Naventic moving down to join. Only Dahaka remains top, even Falstad's starting to move in, but just hanging out in the mid lane to aid the shots that Johanna has now claimed. But with heroic abilities so close for Team Naventic, because of this excellent rotation and sieging, Team Freedom had to give up the temple. And we have a pause.
We, in fact, do have a pause, sadly. Not, hopefully not as bad or as consistent as yesterday. We've managed to make it to possibly the last game of the day. Possibly, not looking like it right now.
But Dread, it's Sky Temple.
That was where we experienced it yesterday,
yes,
right?
Both times.
Both times.
Both times.
Dude, we figured it out. Dude, 3-2-3 was on Tomb of the Spider Queen. That was the map for that. If that happened on Sky, it would be like we figured everything out. You know, it's just going full circle.
So much makes sense. All right, guys, thank you for your patience as we figure things out. We have Insomnia lagging, so we're just going to make sure that he is all set and ready to go. We haven't been able to talk about Heroes 2.0 because the action has just been so constant, so let's take this opportunity to do that. Just kidding, the game is ready, so we're getting back into it. But a quick plug, Tuesday, April 25th, 11 a.m. PDT, be there.
Be there. Wherever there is, we don't really know. Actually,
it's on our stream.
Yeah, it's actually
Be
right.
here.
It's where you are right now. There goes Zuno in, a lot of damage, gets the Void. The Gust to try and split everyone here. Dansky's got the pressure onto him, but it looks like he is going to barely make it out. How?
Insomnia brush-talked in, so it was kind of like, hello, I am scary, I'm a scary dinosaur, but it is interesting that he was able to get away.
I just viewed Dahaka as this just kind of aloof type, goony little guy. He's like, hello, I'm a dinosaur, pay attention. And
hello, yes, this is dog, this is dinosaur.
Exactly, this is dinosaur. That exact same style, he just pops up and he's like, hey, this is Dino. Man, I gotta see that in one of the, like a Carbot animation or something. My goodness, dude. That would be 10 out of 10.
I would love to see that too.
2 heroics were used and no kill achieved for Naventic. Freedom has their heroic choices now. Everything is as expected. Go for the throat was the choice for Greymane.
Now we see it. I'm ready for the sanctification. Go for the throat. Masterpiece.
Masterpiece.
Yeah, man.
You're calling it a masterpiece before they even execute it?
If it's executed well, it's guaranteed a masterpiece.
I can agree with you there.
That's what I meant. I'm ready to see it just...
They've got it prepped.
Body some people.
Here it goes. There's going to be attempt number 1. Always keep track of the sword on the ground because that is how all this works. That was the biggest mistake I made when originally looking at the compositions, you know, when we first started seeing that out of E-Star. And I was just like, how do you counter this? And it was always, you got to keep track of the sword because Haragic Reforging of 4 pretty much enables Tyrael to be at a position to, even on a non-delay map, because everybody looked at that time and was like, yo, you can delay so well. But it's more than anything just the fact that you constantly reposition yourself
Yeah.
if you hit anybody whatsoever. So suddenly you aren't banking on one cooldown. Great main, are you good to go? And if he says no, you're like, okay, that's fine because I've got my reset on my Q. I'll be mobile once more. And conveniently enough, it allows you to legitimately always have a Q on the ground at all times. 100% uptime.
Speaking of Zugrug, backs off after taking a grenade to the face. Temples have started. Freedom can assume that Falstad is down in the bottom lane holding on to that since it is the global hero. All of Freedom hanging out in mid.
Not for long. Falstad might transfer up. Sad days. I thought that was the moment. It was the epic flight, the force of the initiation. Naventic, though, is able to peel him off of mid, gaining more shots, getting the top 4. All 3 forts have been removed for Freedom as they were just scraping by looking for that 13 here.
Yeah, Naventic did abandon some of the shots on bottom, but that temple is not close enough to being done that Dahaka is going to have to leave it. So he's starting to move away now.
He's going to have to burrow. He did.
Yep.
All right. I was like, is he backing? Because that's not... We don't have enough time for this. Over.
Dreaded Dahaka over.
Insomnia.
We're going to need you to get on out of there.
I'm going to let you know. I, in fact, can see everything. And I know you can't, but this is a bad time. We need you to use Z over B. Dahaka's up there with the false stats. Zeratul, you know, Zuna is not done the side soaking strategy that we've seen out of some others. He instead is going for this weird, eerie, slowly creeping up and then looking for a pick. Like right now he's going for side soak now, but he's had this just a lot of moments where he's kind of like, is somebody going to make the mistake and rotate here? And can I catch them off?
Just like over the bruisers. Just creeping his way around the wall.
Yeah, he's just hanging out.
Team Freedom still trying to ramp up, especially with Nazeebo. Dansky's already finished Widowmaker's quest. Starting the invade now that they have those 13 talent tier. Want to get into a fight, get some kills before Team Naventic gets to 16 over Team Freedom.
I love this. Freedom is very aware of the map right now. All right, so they just put themselves in a position to where even with B-Kid showing up and possibly seeing Zuna, they didn't even stop the camp. They were like, this is just a Johanna. We know that we're expecting that the rest of the members were on the Knights. And it doesn't really win you that much, but to be able to call out your opponents on a bluff like that and then end up winning, it's a small moral victory.
Be right about it? Yeah, especially when they're behind in the game. They want to be able to know that they have some sort of motivational advantage still over their opponents.
Yeah, because that puts you, you know, you always have to be able to make one of those plays typically to be able to come back in Heroes of the Storm. So, I mean, if you can make the small call, get it right there. Hopefully that translates over to maybe the boss call or boss bluff that you have to be able to match. 16 is here now for Naventic and still so far away from Freedom. Freedom, you can see they're hoping for that fight late game where they're on the same talent tier. I just don't know if they're going to get it here because they are miles away. That's a whole nother rotation of shots that's going to go on the keep for free.
It is just one temple, but it's a temple that is nearby the boss. There is 2 forts still available for Freedom to take down that would help them climb back into this game and experience, but it's just a tough moment. It's a hard moment here for Team Freedom. They're going to have to give up some more advantage to Team Naventic until they can get their heroic or their level 16 talents.
Zuna going in there with Thompson. They got a lot of damage on his Zugrug. Shots on bottom are going to be captured. They will be able to get the keep here. Now that so much damage has happened to the front wall, the entire time Dahaka is just doing his best, saying, I'm trying to catch us up in XP, boys. Just hold off.
Kimma taking Hunger of the Wolf at level 16. That is not a normal talent, but when he dives in with a Ghost Wolf attack, it does an additional 5% max health to the target and heals Rhaegar for 5% of his max health.
That is a very interesting talent choice there. It will help chunk out Nazeebo, though. That's something you got to think about. And into the double warrior, it might pay off every couple of seconds. And also, the self-survivability is my favorite part about it. It's really good to bait people because they always track you down and they're like, oh, I got him. And then suddenly it's like, I got percentile healing and damage onto you.
The standoff begins. Team Freedom starts it.
They've got Holy Ground, and that's their call. They feel like that is going to be enough. Zuna's still up on top there on the Zeratul.
We've got 16 Spider Colony for Nazebo, that's the big one, as well as Executioner for Greymane.
The thing is chunked. Zuna won't be able to make it in time barely, but Insomnia gets a lot of value out of adaptation. The boss is going to be going down. Holy Ground's used, Sanct on top of it.
Void Prison 2, now Ice Block from Nazebo. Twilight Dream hits, Zeratul goes down, but so does Greymane. We've got a 1-for-1 so far as this is falling down.
The Garg is doing so much damage on the point, even though the Naventic is winning the fight. The Garg says, this is going to be my boss. 2 for 3, Freedom now losing every single member, almost. Zungrug's still up.
He's got Purge Evil. This is chunking through people. He's going to dive back in with the Eldrin.
He's got QE right now.
He's going behind him. There he goes.
Oh, my. And one was left standing.
And then there was one.
The man with the big impact. That, in fact, is going to be left. That was...
every boss fight on Sky Temple.
Yeah, it was a throw pit, a bit of one. But the team that started it got it.
9 people died.
Yeah, right. You know, a lot of souls were cost for that front gate. Was it worth it, Freedom? Look what you've done.
But at what cost?
I always, whenever you say it, I feel the, like, episode 1 of Spark is just where he stands up.
Haven't seen it.
Oh my goodness. It's not at what cost. He's asking him to join the war, and he's like, to what end? Is like, that is his standout thing. To what end? That's all I think of. But it's what cost? To what end will we fight for you? Xeratus is getting the shots up on top. 20 is still out of range for Naventic. Naventic is in a position to where they're going to commit to one of those all the way through, and it should be able to benefit them more because, again, the experience needed to get to 20. There we see that
Hunger of the Wolf
come into play. A lot of damage there on the Zugrug. Got a Holy Ground out.
Twilight dives in. The Twilight Dream. Naspis just destroys everybody after that too. Sanctification enabling Ancestral Healing saves Naventic's Tomster's life, but not Rhaegar. Kinma taken out. Freedom take a 3 for nothing.
Collusion just made that entire fight.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm yet to say that with him on his new role, but that Twilight Dream, I mean, he's had some flashy plays here and there, don't get me wrong, but single-handedly just opening up that fight with the Twilight Dream allowed for the go for the throw, the dive.
I feel like the sound effect of that was 20 times louder too, just like
with the
just because of how many people it hit.
Yeah.
It felt extra loud.
And this is going to lead to Keep still. Dahaka confirming some of the shots up on top, but this game is now Freedom's game. We're back. We're back at a almost perfectly even game.
It's a lot like our Towers of Doom game. Granted, Naventic got more ahead here on Sky than they did on Towers before Freedom turned it on, but it's on.
So when it comes down to the secondary boss, much like the first, it will be skill-oriented, but Freedom should pull out on top, right? So we can expect that boss, in theory right now, is better for Freedom. Every other case, the teams are going to be perfectly even, worried more about the shots than anything else. This is, man, I can't believe that one fight was enough to bring them back.
There is a keep on bottom for Naventic, and that is where Freedom's keep is missing.
Yeah, but I mean, the keep on top is gone, right? It's like where the shot spawn, it's kind of like a...
Yeah, I'm meaning for boss.
Oh, yeah. So the boss will be more lethal for Naventic. That's a good point. Look at how patient Dahaka over there is. He's just casually hanging out, being the dino, the friendly dino that we've made him into.
He's an omnivore. He doesn't always have to crave flesh.
Does he naturally crave flesh?
You know, he's going for kills, right? If he's a dinosaur.
I mean, that's true.
It's not like a raptor.
Oh, gosh. Oh, gosh. Not like this. For a moment there, Dansky, according to my mini-map reading skills, was about a fraction of an inch from getting deleted. But he made it out. He's fine. It's all going to be waiting on the shots or worrying about the boss here. Keep in mind, guys, if Naventic ends up losing here, it really makes it very difficult for them to not be in the Crucible.
Yeah. That is a good point you make. Team Freedom are the ones ahead in the standings, sitting in at the number 6th spot.
And 7 and 8 are the two teams that would be moved into the Crucible, and with them being tied for last place currently, I believe, with No Tomorrow. But No Tomorrow just got the upset of the century.
And No Tomorrow beat Team Naventic as well.
Which would put it into a position where, yeah, it's just Naventic absolutely needs this here for revival of their career here at HGC. Zuna goes in, gets a little bit of damage. Dahaka's still nowhere to be found.
Look at the spiders. Look what they've done. Holy Ground 2.
All right, so Zuna going again for a flank here. A lot of damage already going on Dinksy. Singularity Spike landed, but everybody's already into the Sanctification.
Sanctification was used, but Nasmus wasn't in it. Still, the damage has been done. Team Naventic stepping back, falling back away from this temple, and there's a boss behind this too.
There is going to be the boss behind it. Another keep is going to fall here for Naventic. Big red button has got a cooldown that's going to be popped soon here. Nasmus gets the gust, splitting everybody away. Zuna, though, in the 1v1 with Zugrug, gets the teleport out.
We still have Void Prison. There is still the chance for Naventic.
Oh!
Not if that hits again, though. Twilight Dream once again from Collusion. My goodness.
But nobody died. Thompson actually managed to survive, and Ken got the heals to keep him up. B-Kid, though, has got no passive. He is one shot away. So is Zuna. He teleports out. Ken goes back for the bite. He's going to be put to sleep there. Good night. One kill out of all of the heroics and everything. Dahaka's already got his heroic almost back, and we got ourselves one kill.
The bottom lane pushed in to the core of Team Freedom. Dahaka will go back to deal with that. Another temple available for Team Freedom. Naventic, 60 seconds plus until Void Prison is back. They're going to head for the boss.
Yeah, they are afraid of it. Dahaka's going to go up to shots on top. Everybody else is going to go to the boss. Okay, so what you do here if you're Team Freedom, you actually send Dahaka to the shots, you delay onto the boss, and everybody else goes core. You win the game. You can beat Naventic, but now they've waited so long, they can't do this anymore because Naventic is closer to the core. Therefore, you lose the race. But you have to get the shots on top. Like now we see Dahaka there. Otherwise, Naventic has control over you, not the other way around. Those shots on top, rid of the keep and put damage onto core. That's, wow. It was, now kiss. They legitimately just gave a high five.
The core is falling, and shots still hitting it.
They're going to go for it.
We're going for a base race. Boys and girls, Naventic jumping onto the core as they start to bring it down. Everyone back from Team Freedom right now, Dread.
Zuna has got the Void Prison up, though. Right now it's off a cooldown. Zuna goes down before the Void. Oh, my gosh, and the Big Impact died, too. They've done it.
They took the Odin down. It's just Johanna left.
She's got indestructible. Back 20%. Up, but it doesn't matter.
But no, oh, yeah. Well, I freaked out, but there's still keeps. There's still keeps.
There's still keeps. We're fine. That is it. They're going to be able to move out. There's no way that Kemba could do this on his own. 40 seconds. They are stomping over, especially with Insomnia going up there to make sure he is sealing the deal. How did... What happened?
We got to see that again.
Yeah, I don't even know who killed Zuna before Void, but that was it.
The Twilight Dream was big.
It was Twilight. The Bolt Twilight was the single-handedly the reason. Collusion, making plays when it matters here.
The Master of Malfurion. Team Freedom take a 3-0 victory over Naventic.
What an era of Heroes of be able to witness here today. It is just amazing the fact that, you know, Freedom has been able to, they've had their highs, they've had their lows, but now it seems like a bit of a steady and slow climb, you know, and only a further decline there of Naventic now when looking at the standings. It's, you know, it's hard to watch sometimes with Naventic and just like knowing that there's so much potential with this group of players, but it just feels like it's not working out as a full unit. But it's still, you know, equally just so appealing to watch Freedom figure things out and growing as a group and seeing the results.
Especially when we saw the possibilities for Team Freedom in Part 1, when they took out Gale Force Esports, when they beat Naventic 2. That's when we were like, is this the dark horse of all of NA HGC? But then they struggled versus B-Step, who brought in Tyrande and Jaina and all of these old school compositions that the adaptation wasn't there yet from these new players, this new team. But now Team Freedom has had so much time together and so much time competing in HGC that you can see the difference of this team.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, it is amazing to be able to see them develop and grow as a group. And I think more than anything, you know, these guys are pretty easy to root for. I don't know if you've ever taken time to get to know them personally, but they are very humble, very driven. They are some of the youngest names here in competitive North American Heroes of the Storm. And it's just, I'm just happy whenever they get the wins, you know, because you can tell that it means something.
Especially this guy right here. He's always a joy to talk to. Insomnia, congratulations, 3-0 over Naventic. We thought this would be a closer series since you guys know them so well. Did you feel the same?
We did not expect the 3-0, but we have like this first loss curse that we felt if we got over that we would come out really strong. So it was kind of a little bit weird. We know each other's drafts very well, so they were always banning Abathur against us, and we knew that they were going to come out with Zeratul on Sky Temple. So we felt like they really outplayed us on Sky Temple. Like, we thought we were going to lose that, and we had a little bit of a weird decision-making towards the end, but we just kind of stuck to our guns and then finished it off pretty well. So, but they played really well. GG's to them.
Yeah, you guys both played so well. It's awesome to see you guys, especially. Talk to us about the feeling of the team after one team wipe on Towers of Doom and then the second team wipe on Towers of Doom.
So after the first team wipe, we were super pumped and we're like, all right, let's go, boys. This is Team Freedom, and we're super stoked. And then they started to get ultimates, and then they wasted ultimates on the bottom half. And then we were like, okay, well, they really want to fight again because they're also going to come back up. So we just prepared and we're like, all right, let's just group. So we grouped at our camp, and then it was kind of a Hail Mary. But if we wiped there, it was definitely the game over. So, you know, we were feeling good after that. And we really liked Towers of Doom, so it was good. Yeah,
it's clear you guys love that battleground, and we were getting hyped too. So thank you for that.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's always awesome to hear, you know, your guys' thought process of considering what happens if we end up wiping in this situation rather than what is the most optimistic, you know, when we win it. I always love when I get to hear that from a team. But I want to put focus on Collusion specifically, just because in that last game you talked about feeling like you were getting outplayed. In my opinion, feels like single-handedly saved that game for you guys. And he's got that role swap coming in, and he's been working on the support for so long. Do you feel like you guys can note the improvement for him on that position, or it's just more of like he does his thing and, you know, if it works, it works?
So the best thing about Collusion is he's always open to constructive criticism, because we always see like these big dream plays coming out. So we're like, Kill, you need to communicate these to us so we can, like, the problem is his vocalization of when he sees he's able to pull the trigger. So we're like, dude, work on it. And then he's able to pull the trigger, and then we see the big play and we're like, let's go, Kill. And we pump him up. So then he's super stoked, and then we all play better when everyone's happy. So it really works. He's playing very well, and I'm proud of my entire team. So
that's awesome to hear.
Well, Insomnia, you guys have been steadily improving now through Part 2. We saw the improvement in Part 1. Now, 2, you play Tempo Storm next Friday. So tell us what you guys, maybe how you're going to be preparing for that and what you think that you'll be able to do versus that scary opponent.
Well, we're not afraid to face them, I think is the best thing. We scrim them all the time, and they're definitely one of the better teams in NA, but I think every team is beatable at this state. So we're just going to play our game, and they're going to play theirs. We're going to do a lot of studying, and obviously the best team's going to win. So that's what we're looking forward to.
I'm looking forward to it too. Good luck in that match. Shout-outs before we let you go celebrate.
Shout out to my team and my brother. Thank you guys for all supporting us in the chat, and keep rooting for Team Freedom, you guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye, Insomnia.
Bye.
Seem pretty happy.
Yeah, he always does, you know. Ever since, I mean, I originally met him a long while ago, and his drive through the competitive Heroes of the Storm scene, he's always seemed, you know, head down, trying